ήρθαμε στο απόψινό μας ραντεβού για να αποχαιρετήσουμε, λένε κάποιοι, το καλοκαίρι. Εγώ θέλω να χαιρετήσω και να υποδεχθώ την Εύη Sidiropoulou.
I would like to welcome Madame Sidiropoulou, nevertheless. Welcome. Anna, thank you for the invitation. I would like to greet you all. We are here to stay out late because we love Athens. Here we have a combination of people here on the stage, and you, the crowd, at the square. Each of you, for your reasons, with your ways, your dreams that keep changing as years go by, and Athens keeps changing. You all admire and love the city center. We are listening to a song having to do with Athens. So I came in Athens in 2007. I'm fresh here. So this specific piece of music has to do with my transition from another town to Athens.
Καθώς το πετύχαινα συνέχεια στο ραδιόφωνο, στο BES, στο οποίο και μετέπειτα δούλεψα. Και μου φέρνει στο μυαλό μια νοσταλγική εποχή με την εντυπωσιασμό για την εξερεύνηση και την ανακάλυψη καινούριων περιοχών και επίσης το κομμάτι που είναι και το πρώτο κομμάτι της πρώτης μας εκπομπής, την πρώτη μου εκπομπή στον BES πίσω στο 2007.
Back in 2007 when I had my first job at Best Station. Where did you come from? From Thessaloniki? Well, yes, it is.
Θέλω να καλωσορίσω όμως κοντά μας, θα μου επιτρέψετε, γιατί έχω μια αδυναμία.
Welcome here, Mr. Tzoumas. I really admire him. How are you? Wonderful. I feel quite loose. Yes, you know, before announcing your name and after announcing your name, we were discussing about the topic of dialogues, and when they had your name, everybody said that your name is one with Athens, Athens and August in Athens. It's not only me, many people stay in Athens. This has to do with the heavy taxes as well, but it seems that many people now stay in Athens and others want to stay here. They got bored of the islands. They want to stay here. They want to see what happens in Panepistimiou Street. The people say that it is empty in August in Athens. Well, it's not like that always, but it's okay in the last years. So you don't go around the city. No, the whole city, Athens is a big city. I cannot really be like that. I can't become an explorer. This was happening in the past when I was young, in my adolescence. It was like a sweet adolescence. So I was an explorer back then, not now. Now I'm just an observer. Is everything fine? What you observe? No, not everything I observe is beautiful and fine. We'll come back to this later. Now allow me to move on to Madam Eva Theotokatou. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me. That's a very nice crowd here. Any stories from Athens? I was born in Athens. Downtown? No, not really downtown. I was raised in Ilioupoli, then I moved further to the south. But I used to visit the center of Athens. This was the music inviting me here downtown. And it was a right thing to do because I was involved in music. I am a radio host. I have been involved in music for many years and in many ways. And my reference point was Athens, always. Indeed, there was a time when I decided to showcase other countries, other towns rather, other cities. I did it for a while. I talked about other festivals, other cities for a while, but then I returned to Athens. Okay. How are you, Mr. Leivadas? Here, this is my base. I'm fine. I was raised here. The best nights of my life I spent here in the last 25 years, actually. And Mavili Square is my home. Do you live close by? Yes, for many years. I used to live here for many years, and indeed, my mother, who was a rock and roll fan, participated in the first rock and roll parties here and at the Dorileu 14th Street and in other places for many years. So I was living close by for many years. Lately, I don't live here, but it's something like a place I keep coming back. I will ask you the expected question in a while. I was talking with Panagiotis and Stavros, Panagiotis, Menegos, and Stavros Dioskouridis, and we said that there are funds for the city center. You were not sleeping in the morning. We are actually talking about this. So the great funds of downtown Athens. Things keep changing. We grow up. I cannot accept this. They say that it's young people, 20-year-old guys that come here and change things. But many neighborhoods have stayed the same, like Platia Mavili. It has changed. Yes, many things have changed. Many reference points, and people keep coming and going. But Mavili Square, somehow, I don't know how, is actually a proof that everything changes and everything stays the same at the same time. I'm always glad to see Laura's place, but Nikos Lauras is still strong. But he was here for many years. Also Briki, MG, friends and people. George Scoutis left, who was kind of a guy who was identical with Mavili Square, together with Babis Sidiropoulos. Young people come in, fresh blood. Music changes. There was never music at Laura's, but now there is. It's good to feel that things keep changing. Many things happen. I will come back to you to talk about your inspiration with the well-known song. Now, please take a mic. It's on. It's on. How are you? Panagiotis Menegos and Stavros Dioskouridis. Very well. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for our talk this morning. It's great that we have never had the opportunity to sit here on this platform, on the fountain, actually. It's like Omonia Square in 1987 after Eurobasket. We can even swim in the waters. So, we never come here that late. It's the first time I'm out that late. So many people. Everybody is out. How about a crisis? People enjoy themselves. Well, I cannot recognize him. Well, we were together, we were operating together, we were working late. Now we are serious guys, we wake up early in the morning. We stay out late with measure, everything with measure. After a while, you need to meet somebody of your age outside. 3 o'clock, okay, 4, 5 in the morning, there is nobody to talk to. We have this generation gap. But anyway, I think that Athens at night, I keep thinking about many epic things to say, like Athens, the sleepless city, and many other issues. But anyway, I think that there is a characteristics that keeps people late at night. The weather is fine, so everything happens later. And Athens is its squares. Things happen there at the squares. We did many things there. We cannot remember them, or we were embarrassed and we didn't want to remember them, but anyway. Now, those of you who are here at the square, please raise your hands if you have never eaten street food from the canteen. And how about our sandwiches? It's too early to eat now. Who has never eaten street food from the canteen? Are you going to order some street food for me? We're going to do it anyway. How about you, Mr. Oikonomidis? We come from different neighborhoods. We stay late, but then we come here to eat from your place, from your food stand. Thank you very much. We started 1989. We just had a food stand. Then there was a canteen, and now we have a type of a walled shop. We are going to discuss about this later. This was a concern for us all because this was a solution for us when we stayed late after alcohol and we were hungry and you offered help. I'm sure you have many things to tell about us because you have seen us in very bad conditions and in a very bad state. Yes, that's true.
So this is the 21st Dialogues event. It is August. We are in Mavili Square, obviously. And all of you being here tonight and all those attending through live streaming from snf.org/live. So all of you can send your questions as usually, as you know, online. You can send your questions online. Anyone can contact us, say something, ask a question, express a view, share your opinions. Whoever wants to do so, you can do that online through our platform, snf.org/dialogues. And you can send your questions, your messages, and also you can upload anything on social media, any comments or photos. Our hashtag is freedom of speech. And as you know very well, SNF Dialogues is also our hashtag. So you came here in 2007 from Thessaloniki to Athens. So the first time that, do you remember the first time you played music in a shop, in a place? I think yes. You can never forget your first time. What do you mean you think yes? I thought you would say that you definitely remember. Of course I do. I was only joking. So what do you remember? Share it with us. I remember that I was very nervous. Of course, that's normal. I remember there were lots of people. It was in some bar in Kolonaki. Does it still exist? Is it still open? Yes, but they play different type of music. What street? Skoufa Street. Was it at the corner? No, next to the corner place. I think you know what I mean. So tell us. So since then, I have played music several times in the same place, and all those nights in that shop were very successful, not just with me, but also with other DJs. What could you see in those people? Could you say that the Athens nightlife would be characterized back then by specific people, music, neighborhoods? What was your first picture from the nightlife in Athens? Well, in 2007, people were more careless and they would enjoy themselves, have fun, they would dance, smile, laugh, drink more, definitely. Yeah, but then we had the 24% VAT rate and things changed, right? And because afterwards the economic crisis started and the night started shrinking. What do you mean? Do you miss? Well, I'm missing this careless life, but we also grow older, so I don't know. I don't know what is happening. Great. Shall we prove this myth false? Because people say that we are growing, that's why we see things differently, that's why we're not having fun. Well, a few years ago, all those people here would be dead from drugs and alcohol, but now we are all on medication. Time goes by, and everybody here, all ladies here, had makeup, and now because of high temperature, the makeup is melting, and we will all look worse in a while. What type of music would you associate Athens with? In Athens, well, I grew up with Bowie, Talking Heads, Rolling Stones. Hatzidakis once used to tell me, what kind of music would you hear with your friends in Piraeus? I said jazz and classic music, and because we considered your music, girlish music. And Hatzidakis said, I will take that as a compliment. What type of music would you associate Athens with currently, at the moment? Some electronic music. Don't you like electronic music? Of course I do. Vangelis Papathanasiou writes great music, and all those soundtracks for films, for movies are great. And there was also music played in Epidavros Ancient Theatre with Kantranzos costumes, and the event was really impressive. So things do happen. Some people do not follow up the events, but this doesn't mean that things do not happen. There are events and movies and music. Great music is written, but sometimes we don't follow up because we are elsewhere, but we have always been elsewhere, so don't expect any proper answer on this. I would also like to invite Evie to join us here. We can turn the music off for a while. Yeah, that's a great piece, but all those music pieces are great. I have spent many nights with Christa Sidiropoulou, I must admit. Eva, you said that you never stayed in the center, but you always liked the center because you could find everything you wanted in the center. And every time you tried to promote other places, of course there are other remarkable places, but it seems we all agree there is magic in Athens downtown. And no matter how much it has lost, no matter how much people have stopped going out during the years of the crisis, I think the center has preserved this magic. Well, now that I remember, I have stayed in Exarchia for 8 months. I won't go into detail, but Athens is a big city and the center is very big. It doesn't matter where you're staying because you may go out not in the neighborhood where you're staying, but elsewhere. It has happened to many people. It happened to me as well. I would always go back to the center to be able to be in the heart of things, in the heart of cultural events or music events. This is where you would find out what is going on in terms of music. So this is where you would go to learn, to live. And of course, it depends on your friends. I have some people ask me where I'm staying, and people are trying to say that we should promote our neighborhoods. But since we are talking about the center and since we are in the center, let's pay tribute to the center. I have to admit that I have spent several hours in Athens in theaters. Last year in premiere nights, I also met Konstantinos and many more people. So it's nice living in a city where, you know, there is life, sparkling life. People come here to enjoy this life from all corners of the world. I agree with Konstantinos. There are so many types of music, new musicians, new artists come up, and in the past we used to know a couple of sites or disc companies, but now this has taken giant dimensions because music comes from everywhere, and you have to be trained to know how to recognize music and try not to miss anything. This is fascinating, and it keeps you young, no matter if you're growing, when you're always alert, and if you're always on duty, you are always fascinated. Well, I guess you have been in Mavili Square in the early morning hours. Yes, of course. I want to ask you, please tell us, Mr. Leivadas, because Mr. Leivadas is the composer. No, I'm the lyricist and co-creator with Mr. Dimitriadis. Okay, tell us, what was the inspiration? How was this song born? Well, it was in 1994, one night when I was in Flower, and I saw some woman after many years. It was exactly what I have written. This is exactly the lyrics. Tell us about the lyrics. Well, first of all, I'm next to Mr. Oikonomidis. What did you do? Did you talk to her? Did you take her? Did you buy her some street food? No, because she was with somebody else, because it was many years later. So I just watched them. Did she ever find out that you wrote that song for her? You know, a female instinct is evil, so she knew. Without even talking to me, she knew, and she confirmed it many years later, as it always happens. But it was just an instant snapshot of the city. I loved that music, the same as George Dimitriadis, who is a very important person, a very important figure of electronic music in Thessaloniki, because we've made this song together. When we were recording the song, some beloved musicians have participated from Aprosarmosti, from Odysseas Arapis, Stelios Galanakis, and this all contributed in this sound, this spirit of the song, because, you know, our work is only details, but of course, in the heart, and this is something I'm missing, without, of course, saying that this has not been replaced, but I do miss the iconic canteen, and I'd like to thank Propaganda and my friends, because the last night when the canteen was here, I had the chance to have a picture of myself in that canteen, the ghost canteen, and I've seen my whole life go through like a movie, and I had that experience, an unforgettable experience. Babis, who is not here, he is Mr. Oikonomidis' partner, had said 5 or 6 years ago, well, enough is enough, dear artist. It's not just junk street food. We also have crepes and chicken nuggets. So you can write now the sequel of this song. And this is an idea, because I'm an addict. I'm there every other night. Well, I don't want to damage your menu, and I don't want to be unfair to other places here around the square. But Mr. Oikonomidis, well, a crepe, what is a crepe vis-a-vis your junk street food? Well, junk street food, dirty food, vrómikο, is our foundation. But we have grown. We have added more things, because people also want now something sweet, a dessert after their food. So we have crepes or chicken nuggets, and but the junk food is our foundation, our basis. Well, what were people's comments? Because you were a small canteen around the corner, and then you became a shop. Well, there were many comments and gossiping. A girl came here who was working in CNN in a newspaper, and she wanted to write a story why the canteen has closed down. So she was asking, why is a business closing down if it's doing well? So I said, our contract is over, and even 7 years before, I had made my preparations to make sure that we don't stay out of a job, and I had rented a place, because we should admit that in Greece the public sector is not working properly, or as it should work. Well, that's a great truth. And people often said, why don't you open a shop? Why are you here with a canteen? Even the municipality was saying so, even though they were collecting a very high rental. Well, many of us were afraid and sad and upset back then, because this was our meeting place, but you have maintained your clients. We have the same feeling. We keep coming back to you spontaneously, and you preserved that independent of the square. We said before that the Mavili Square is a great neighborhood, a place in the center of Athens that has always existed. There have been ups and downs, but it has not disappeared. The same as other neighborhoods or other squares in Athens that have weakened or disappeared or have gone through several years of necrosis, let's say. However, this canteen, which is associated with Mavili Square, did it have its ups and downs or not? Well, look, we have now a different generation. We had unmarried people, single guys who got married and then are now bringing their children. So we have two different generations, because people know that when their kids eat from our canteen, they will be safe and they will sleep at night. So they tell them, you will have junk food from that canteen because we know that it is safe and good. And this is the greatest reward for a canteen. Before I ask Eva to reply by a song, I'd like to ask Panagiotis and Stavros. It's a dual question, and you can answer as you like. What other neighborhoods or squares or places in Athens would you distinguish, either because they have a great combination of music, people, location, view, and so on, or what are the places that close down and you are missing? We are seeing here pictures, photos from night hours in Athens. It is Penelope Gerasimou that has showed these pictures. Well, what other squares? Well, during these last years, when we are active in this night sport, of course, one of the top squares is here, Mavili Square, especially at the end of the 90s and the beginning of 2000. I would say that Gazi Square is also a nice one, even before the metro station opened there. And since this is after summer holidays, we should say that squares are similar to islands. So there are square people who say the square was very nice and beautiful before you came here. And of course, there is also Exarchia Square. We have all been there. We have spent several nights in Karitsi Square. You were there too. Agia Irini Square, of course, downtown. You said everything. There's nothing more for me to say. Well, it's very interesting discussing about squares. This was a way out of the crisis. All restaurants, bars, cafeterias grew more during the crisis. either for Greeks or tourists. Yeah, but most of them have shut down in record time. Yeah, but there has been some recycling. In 2008, in Syntagma Square, there was only one place for nightlife. But now there's almost only restaurants and bars and cafeterias and nothing more. So things keep changing. Another example is a Psyri neighborhood, which is a typical example. Mid-90s, there was crowded Greek bouzouki, Greek music, R&B, house, Oriental music. You could find everything in Psyri. And around the corner, there were also dark places. But then this circle was closed, and now different owners buy shops, and things get different.
Mavili Square had ups and downs, which were not great. It was always on the map, however. There was a steady course, I would say. No fluctuations, irrespective of the crisis. People kept coming, like Laura's flower, the new flower, Briki, you. What's the record? Your record in night? Junk food. Well, I don't want to tempt the tax authorities a lot. Thousands? No, not thousands of euro. I would say enough. Is it true that apart from Kolonaki, you never go anywhere else, Arwes? Yes, that's true. I never go anywhere else. This is where I live. Mavili Square was known to me from parties. There was a girl looking like Catherine Deneuve, Mikes Sweets, Vlasis Tavernas, and a description by Nikos Nikolaidis in a book about a party organized at Mavili Square when a girl thinks that actually flirts in a very sexy way, but we don't know whether this girl is actually flirting or she just breathes from her mouth because she's ill. And something else about rain. It was raining. Some guys were drinking at Laura's bar, and there was another bar owned by Georgis, the actor, and a guy took me there. I thought that we were going there just for some grass. I thought that we were going to smoke grass, but he was just wanting us to drink something, proper drink. And I was there with some people who were very drunk, sleeping. If we all need someone we can lean on, they were singing. And the guy that took me there went to the toilet. I was there alone, and somebody asked, "Who are you?" The guy is a choreographer, and I am a dancer at Belgrade. Well, life is difficult for everybody, so it was really everything haphazard. Anyway, summer, I was here under the shadow, and two girls, a Czech girl and a girl from Germany, they were wonderful. I asked them, "Where do you stay?" "We're staying there at the Alexandros." "In which language?" We spoke English, and very good English, I would say. They were very nice looking, really nice looking. So there was an appointment at the hotel. I didn't go there. I don't know why. And then it was in the news. They were arrested for prostitution. These impressive ladies, they were actually working girls. Other stories in downtown Athens, yes, many stories. At Mitropolio Street, it has been upgraded. After the ministry moved to another place, and we have this hotel, new shops, wonderful girls walk around. That's wonderful. Athens became a destination. So actually there was a couple, an Italian couple, and they asked me on the bus, is Parthenon away from the Acropolis? Look, Parthenon is on the Acropolis. How come? You know, some things can happen, some other things cannot happen. But you can take off at the Makrigiannis, just walk the pedestrian street, you will see the museum. This is the Acropolis, and the Parthenon is on the Acropolis. Yes, it's very easy. I'm sure you will find it. You can't miss it. And there are some guys from Japan. They shop a lot, and they ask for Gucci. And Chanel, they also ask. So I said, yes, it's there at Secretary Street. So I think like I am promoting tourism in Athens. I have to be paid by them. How about Kolonaki? Kolonaki has changed. We all know what happened. It was alive. No, it's no longer alive. They got carried away by their wives, that they wanted to go to some leafy suburbs in the north, and they left the wonderful houses they had there. Wonderful parties were organized at Kypseli, Victoria Square, and Pakrati around Proskopon Square. Yes. Look, these parties had 10 girls and 35 guys. Out of these 10 girls, 2 or 3 were very good looking. How about the rest? Anyway, we found out as the years went by that the nice looking girls were living either in Nea Smyrni or Califea. They were girls born in refugee families, and they had something different which we used to like. But now things have changed. You have some wonderful blonde people coming, driving a cabrio car from Peristeri, because they come from families that became rich doing business with the public sector. So, what is there in Kolonaki that has stayed the same? Is it only you? No, there are some other guys that are humorous enough, and when they say how things, worse, they are getting worse, perfect. We are still surviving with a bitter smile, yes, a bitter smile. How about you, Eva? I thought you were playing some music. I'm ready. Just tell me to hit play. But is it going to be a soundtrack? Or is it something that has to do with what I'm going to say? If it's a soundtrack, we have to change our settings or to change the music. Where are you looking at Mr. Tzoumas? He's a very interesting person. So it's your choice. Okay, then. A question for Emily. Have you ever stayed in the center of Athens? And we know that the Thessaloniki downtown is wonderful, and there is tremendous culture there, and we will go there. Please invite me. Yes, you will be invited. Now, please tell us whether you felt free in Athens, because in Thessaloniki everything is familiar. Everything is familiar, even if you are not from this town. Do you get the same feeling in Athens? Yes, indeed. It's something I really like in Athens. To answer your first question, I lived in the center for 8 years in a row. I was walking everywhere. I was walking to Theseion, to Gazi. I would go out a lot, and I'm still going out a lot as far as I can. I really love the center. I live quite far now, but I still come to the center. I play my music here. Which is your favorite neighborhood? Where do we go together? Well, it's the historic center of Athens I really like, but I still like Petralon. Anything to share with us? You were playing music somewhere and something quite outrageous happened. You can never forget this, either because you had a wonderful time or something happened, you felt something, you saw something in particular? Something in particular? No, I don't think so. I have played music a lot in my life. And actually, I started in my first radio station and I was getting paid €150, which was quite far away. It was in Marousi, and I was spending everything on traveling there. Then a friend of mine invited me to play music somewhere else. I really enjoy this. I have to say that when I go to play music, I am not saying that I have many things to do. I have to wake up early. I am always in ecstasy. Was it like us with us? You said, oh no, I don't want to do it. No, this is not a DJing set. Tell us about it. First of all, you can see that I don't stay up late. I have to do it, but actually I like mornings. I like waking up very early to read a book or something. But anyway, when you get in this process, there is a connection with the crowd, the people, and this connection becomes an obligation because they have come to listen to your music and you are getting paid to change the way they feel. And this is what a DJ has to do. No matter how you feel, you have to forget it and you have to get a new feeling, and the DJ has to balance his music with the feelings of the people. What type of music do you like? It's not just electronic music. You have to listen to music a lot. You cannot do it otherwise. But it's not just electronica. Sometimes I get tired, but then I have the radio job because things are different there. You cannot play beats. You have to do editing to make it more accessible. Otherwise, you have to mix. So this is a balance you have to achieve, and it happens after some time. But music, for me, is actually a lifesaver, and in my worst and in my best. And now you're going to listen to something else from a very good DJ, DJ Boukem. Since we're talking about the center, you're laughing, it seems you know everything. Why haven't we met before? You know DJ Boukem? She's one of us. So DJ Boukem organized a legendary party in a legendary pub. We're talking about trance music in the late 90s and 2000. There we heard a lot. And one of the very important clubs, which was downtown in Technopolis, was Plasoda. And this club organized a wonderful event I was very late. I knew that I was going to have trouble at home, but it was okay. This was a wonderful party. He was in a very good mood, and he actually managed to transmit this to the people. I was not drinking. I was very young and a very nice and quiet girl, but I was actually in ecstasy. A question for you all. Do you feel safe in Athens? This is a debate which is a debate that happens a lot between politicians and journalists, and I don't know whether it's my view, but when we compare what was happening when I was 16, now I'm 36, and I'm not afraid, I would say. Not that there are not any events. I think everything happens everywhere, but I have never felt terrified. But I know what is your view. If I was afraid, no, I have Stavros with me and he protects me. Look, Athens is a metropolitan center of 5 million people. All metropolitan cities have the same problems. There are some difficult parts, but it's not the Gotham city. And anyway, in Athens, you are not in danger from these people that became the protagonists of this week without them wanting this. Anyway, I don't know. We have had many events, thefts, and things that happened at night. But personally, I have never felt threatened. And anyway, I went through some difficult neighborhoods and quite late, I would say. But I think that nobody really feels frightened when walking around the city at night. On the other hand, we do have the mass media, and it seems that they enjoy horror stories. In 2008 to 2011, they would say that the center of Athens was very difficult. Nobody could walk through. You have to use a helmet, and you will be robbed anyway. But I think that those of us who used to walk around, then okay, we survived, as it seems. We are here, sitting on this platform, ready to celebrate. I wonder what is going to happen when, if somebody turns the water on. It will be risky. But anyway, I walked in Harlem. I was ignorant, maybe. Nothing happened to me. Maybe I had a guardian angel. Was it synchronicity, whatever? Even in Athens. And everybody was afraid to go downtown because of TV news. And I was always walking around at night. Indeed, there was an issue with some refugees that came from the island of Crete to the law school, and everybody was locked in at home, and they would watch TV. I was walking around, and there was a group of 6 beautiful girls. Indeed, they were dressed in a trendy way. And they would say, I would ask them, where are you going? To do some clubbing, they would say. I thought that this was wonderful against this general gloomy feeling that something bad happens. What are we going to do with this issue? The girls were just trying to find a place to spend a good night. They were wonderful. They would walk around deserted streets. It was very encouraging, I would say, at that period of time. It seems that things were constantly, and some people were living in the suburbs, and they would ask, where were you outside? Outside. Everything is bad. Be careful. Nothing is really happening. Just leave me alone, everything is fine. I never felt frightened, but maybe this was just a coincidence. How about you, Eva? Actually, I think that I have reasons to be afraid, but I'm not afraid, because I have this irrational feeling that people living in Athens, the citizens of Athens, show solidarity. That even if something bad happens, I could just yell and they will come to assist, to help me. I don't know. I have never had the chance to find out. Maybe I should be frightened, but no, I'm not. Mr. Oikonomidis? I feel safe in this city, with the exception of a couple of neighbors where maybe, I don't know, but I feel safe any time of the day. Nothing bad has happened to me ever. In comparison to the past, well, I see no difference, no difference. I have felt everything. I don't know. One of the major squares, like Victoria Square, and we have to bring it back, well, for many years, for many reasons. Well, I felt that this square was lost. Nikolaidis wrote a very nice book about it. Indeed, if you want to read about this face of Athens, you can read this book. Well, we had this change in Kolonaki for other reasons as regards entertainment and aesthetics, and Mr. Tzoumas said that people left, they went to the suburbs. Now, let's see the role of the residents, the people that live there. What is the role of the residents? Because there are still neighborhoods in Athens. I'm talking about people that actually live in the center. It's not just that they go out. Look, I don't know what happened, but the Sion Street was wonderful when I grew up. There were 15 cinema theaters there, 20 theaters, 35 record shops. Not to mention about my personal mythology, because every generation has its own mythology. I knew that the Rou was living close by. So actually there were many artists living there. It was a legendary region. We were 12 years old and we would go to the cinema and we could return at any time. But these cinema theaters no longer exist now. I had the same feeling sometime before 2008. It was in 2005, 2006, 2007 at Evripidou Street. There was something happening there at Theaton Squares. But I want to go up to Skouze Hill, to go to Lenormand Square, to have a look at these places. There is this Ramenes region at Konstantinos. It's actually an ancient region. Plato's Academy was there. But definitely, as regards Mavili Square, I always felt very, very safe. This does not only have to do with the U.S. Embassy. It has to do with the fact that there were many figures, father figures, walking around, and they gave the impression that there was an embrace here. Loras, of course, when he left in 2006. All the customers were very upset because they said that now we are like orphans. He said, look, I feel that I have 15 years to live yet to change things. Many of his customers are not alive, but Loras is still okay. And in 2004, he actually is the most count barman of Athens. This is the photo. But coming back to your question, well, first I have to talk a lot more about Mavili Square and the role of the residents. The same feelings go for somebody, for Smaragda working at Briki. It has to do with the age and this feeling that there is always an embrace there. And Mavili was a cell of many strange and conflicting characters and very important authors. So Laura Caruso's Achilles Persidis was there every night. Wonderful musicians, intellectuals. There was no music played. This is important. And the role of the residents today, well, they have to keep going. They have to reclaim some things. For example, at Pedion Tuareos. And what Panagiotis said was okay. Actually, we waved farewell in 1997, 1998. Not everything is connected with flows and changes. This park was wonderful, but then for many reasons, the average resident, people in the street, they wouldn't enjoy the park. They would just accept that this park is not part of their lives. I don't think that we should have this type of thinking. I believe in this new cyber generation. Tsarouchis said in 1958 that benefactors are the ones that actually assist in actually destroying things. So in order to give a new spirit to the city, we need to demolish whole blocks and build a new park or a lake. David Byrne of Talking Heads said this in 1989. He said this was a Pizza Hut, but there will be a river quite soon. And what happened with the rivers of Athens?
So what was the benefit from filling the rivers? Aren't you drinking anything? No, I'm not going to drink. I have drunk everything I could drink. Do you like walking in morning or night hours? Well, now I prefer walking in the morning because it's very nice. People are starting their day, and it's very nice. And then, when you during the evening hours, you feel sleepy, and the rhythm goes down, and women are asking you to help them to zip up their dresses, and not the opposite. Well, everything seems to be moving around women, right? Yeah, that's true. But now the whole rhythm has changed. I told you before that here there used to be people who were having fun, and now people are under pharmaceutical treatment. Anyway, Eva, thank you very much. Stavros, would you like to go next to him? Laternative is the name. We got to know them from the radio and from their music. They are journalists. We can read them and listen to them and see them and enjoy them. I have an idea. Because I'm really excited with the song. Can you tell us the story? Can you talk about this music? Could you tell us about the dance aspect of Athens? Well, there are many stories about the Mavili Square and the shops. I love hearing all those stories about Loras, as Leivadas said before. Club Soda was one of the biggest clubs in Athens. It was the first dance club that opened in Athens. From 1989 to 1992, we had Fuzz Club in Mavili Square, a very modern one, linked to what was happening in London or New York. It was an evolution of the discotheques of the past. It was playing the music as in other big metropolitan cities abroad. And then we had House, which was across the street. It was brand new, a new race. And then once the media and the TV discovered them, they called it rave. This is a piece from that period, 1995. So, Anna, I was staying still all this time, and you were asking me why I'm not dancing because the lights are on me. This is a terrible problem in Athens. Athenians are slow in starting dancing. They go out, they have a drink, they see around, they chat. You are playing music, you are trying to make them dance, you are looking at them and say, I want one last comment. If you have, or if anyone has a comment, the first messages have already been received for you going on playing, so you have to go on for a while, for a short while. Do you have any last comment? Shall we close? Shall we listen to music? Well, we have to create new memories. We have to keep creating new memories. This is my comment. It's a very beautiful comment. Well, the important thing is that at the end of the day, no matter what has happened during the day, at the end of the day, you have this cordiality and solidarity and this team spirit. You can start chatting with strangers, somebody that you have never met before, at 4 o'clock in the morning around the corner. And we know there are good spirits in Mavili Square. Mrs. Theodora was one of them, an elderly lady, like an elf, 102 years old, who was protecting this square. And this keeps us in good mood. Evie? I have nothing more to add. I very much liked this last comment. Keep creating new memories. This is what I'm going to keep from tonight. I loved this suggestion. Keep creating new memories with new music, new people, new smiles. And I agree that people in Athens are not dancing very much. They do not dance easily. But if they start, they won't stop. Mr. Oikonomidis. Well, I wish we are all well next year and the year after. I wish we are still here and keep smiling. This is my only wish. After a certain age, being strong and healthy is the most important aspect, and young people don't realize. Now I'm almost 60 and I start realizing the value of being well, being healthy. Eva. I only want to say that since the aspect of age was also raised, we said that we keep growing. Anyway, I think Athens is a city for everyone. There is a lot to discover. And Athens is charming, and the more you go out, the more you discover, and the more you realize that you cannot stay in. I was avoiding this comment, but now I can say it. Athens is charming. Well, when a whole night is given to you, you never ask her what time it is. That's my comment. I don't know if there is anybody from the participants, from the audience, who would like to share something with us. If not, we will say good night, but we are staying here. And Panagiotis and Stavros will continue playing music. Our new appointment, the 25th of September in Thessaloniki.